Allow me to introduce now the Consul General of India, Consul General Mahajan, to offer a few words. As he's coming towards the stage, I'll share a bit of his background. Consul General Mahajan joined the Indian Foreign Service in 1998. Prior to assuming charge as the Consul General of India in Houston in January 2020, he was Ambassador DPR of India to the World Trade Organization, Geneva. In his earlier diplomatic assignments, he had served as a Deputy High Commissioner in Indian Mission in Kuala Lumpur and Dhaka, and as well as the Consul General of India, Osaka, Japan. He also served in the Indian missions in Tokyo and Vientiane, Laos. I would like to request Mr. Mahajan to say a few words.
Good afternoon to all of you. It's really a pleasure for me to be here amongst all of you today. Mr. Ashok Mago, Mr. Sunil Meni, members of the US-India Chamber of Commerce, Dallas-Fort Worth, distinguished guests. We have a very distinguished panel here, a lot of experts from the area of healthcare and medical research. My motivation to come here amongst all of you today, as Mr. Meni mentioned, was the area of healthcare and medical research, which is a key pillar of the growing and deepening India-US partnership. I would take a few moments to just brief you on the India-US relations, some of our key themes, and I think what the potential is between both countries in several areas, including healthcare and medical research. As all of you are aware, as the largest democracy and the oldest democracy with shared values, commonalities in culture, India and United States are natural partners. There are no areas of human endeavor driven by our shared democratic values and convergence of interests which are not touched by this deepening partnership, including growing people-to-people contacts and the vibrant community we have here. I'm also happy to share with you that the recent years have been really very meaningful in this relationship. We have had regular meetings between President Biden and PM Modi. We have had in-person meetings, we have had virtual meetings. We have a very strong partnership going in the Quad, and many of you may be aware about the Indo-Pacific Economic Partnership for Prosperity as well, which is an area of growing convergence and interest for both countries. Several high-level visits have been taking at a regular frequency. We have several ministerial visits through the year. We have had several working groups working, and I think areas like energy, defense, security, trade and investment, culture, you name it, and both India and United States are working in these areas. India also shares a very strong connect with this part of the United States, with the presence of a very vibrant and multifaceted Indian community, people who represent different walks of life, who have excelled in different walks, and who bring a lot of pride to all of us, and who are also very important for us as bridges between both countries for flow of resources, information, best practices, and now growing trade and investment. Texas also now has the second largest Indian American community in the United States, and I'm sure all of you are aware it is attracting a lot of internal migration, as also people from India, and cities like Dallas, Austin, Houston, these are places in the United States where the Indian American community is growing. In terms of investments, Texas also is home to the largest Indian investments. We have investments worth more than $10 billion, having created 17,500 jobs in diverse areas like technology, manufacturing, healthcare, and many other areas with the presence of growing companies. Last year we had a record trade of $160 billion between India and the United States, which was a historic high. We have more than 2,000 American companies who are now in India, and the number continues to grow. I have been here for more than 2.5 years, and despite the pandemic, I'm very happy to share with you that I have myself witnessed a lot of Texas companies going to India, scouting for business and coming back successful. There is immense potential in both countries for companies to build partnerships for technology, for joint manufacturing, for technology tie-ups, and in other areas. The Bilateral trade and investment, as I highlighted, is a growing area. Friends, we have many American friends here as well. I really want to take a moment to tell you about India. India is amongst the fastest growing economies in the world. Post-pandemic, it has registered one of the fastest recoveries. We have been attracting the highest FDIs. But more important, what I want to highlight is the demographics of India. More than 650 million people in India are around 25 years or below that age, and almost touching 400 million are below 15 years of age. So India is a country with a very young demographics, and the projections say that by 2030, 20% of the global workforce will be from India. We have strong institutions, a strong civil society and media. And if you go back to India, many of you, when you travel back to India, you will see the strides which we are making in areas of infrastructure, logistics, how tier B and C cities, how they are growing, and how India is transforming, driven by this young population. I have a very strong personal conviction, even though I'm a diplomat, but I can say with a very strong conviction that this decade and the coming decades are decades where India will see a lot of progress, and especially in the India-US partnership, as they say, the best is yet to come, and there is truly immense potential. One of the key motivations why I came here today was the area of healthcare and medical research, and more so during this pandemic. When this conference was being discussed, Mr. Many mentioned, and we spoke. I just recently went in June, from 23rd to 26th June, for the API conference in San Antonio, and in that room there were almost 900 to 1,000 Indian American professionals. All of you are aware of American Association of Physicians of Indian Origin. It has almost 80,000 professionals as members, and there are other associations as well. So you can imagine the pride which it brings to us. And let me also mention that API and these organizations are doing great work to deepen the partnership in the area of healthcare between India and United States. Despite the pandemic, you later have Surgeon General Vivek Murthy coming. Despite the pandemic, both countries have really continued to cooperate in this area between the Indian Council for Medical Research, the National Institute of Health here, the CDC, and several vaccines are being developed jointly, several drugs are being developed jointly. The Baylor College of Medicine in Houston has developed the Corbevax vaccine with biological E, which is being administered in India, which is a symbol of the India-Texas partnership. There are many such candidates. But 3-4 areas which I really want to highlight for an audience like this, especially in this area, it was mentioned earlier, India has the largest number of FDA-compliant pharmaceutical manufacturing companies, US FDA-compliant manufacturing facilities. If you go to CVS, Walgreens, I think billions of dollars are saved by the generic drugs which come from India. I have myself seen companies, US companies going and partnering in India, and Indian companies coming here even for manufacturing of syringes, for other devices, for administering of vaccines, for example. So this is an area which offers immense potential. The second area which I want to highlight is medical devices. US is the largest market, and India is one of the fastest growing medical devices. There is immense potential. In fact, there are a number of active Texas companies who are looking for manufacturing medical devices in India. When the pandemic came, there were companies who were looking for ventilators and things like that, but I think regular medical devices is something which companies can come to India, manufacture in India for the world, for Africa, for Asia, and for other parts. And that offers a great opportunity for medical devices company in the United States. Many of them are there, and many of them are looking to go there, especially for manufacturing. The third area, of course, is, as I said, the physicians who are working on clinical trials, on drug development and medical education. India has a new national education policy. I have visited some UT health systems here and other systems. I think that offers immense potential. And we recently had a roundtable with Assistant Secretary Lu and some of the doctors. They highlighted a very interesting thing, that doctors from United States are looking to go to India for reverse training, for going to India because the footfall in hospitals in India, the samples there, the exposure there, the research which takes place there, they go there, get trained there and come back here. So it's a two-way stream which is happening in this area. Hospital administration systems. We have Texas, the largest medical center in the world is in Houston. institutions like MD Anderson, the Tata Institute, they are collaborating. Baylor College is collaborating with many institutes in India for hospital administration systems, for exchanging data, for exchanging samples. We have an audience of healthcare experts here. Please do suggest ideas in this area. And I can assure you that this is an area which will only grow given the population of India, which is 1.3 billion. Healthcare, we don't need to overemphasize, is going to be need of the world, especially for lifestyle-related diseases and other areas. That offers, again, immense potential. And finally, on one or two areas, given the time, one is technology and innovation. Dallas happens to be home to so many fintech companies, so many technology companies. We are working in the area of startups here. I can just cite one example to you. There was a small college in India which developed a device for breast cancer non-interventional detection. Now these are young students in India who had this device. They present this idea to some company here. Obviously I cannot name those companies, but the potential to scale up in the United States is huge. And the investments which companies in the United States are making with these youngsters, they are paying rich dividends. There are many new innovations which are taking place. In the Texas Innovation Center, we are getting medical companies to come and do research here. I think similarly there are incubators here in states which we cover in southern United States who are very keen to get these young IT professionals. That is a great area. There are members in this audience who will tell you about the Technology Connect in the area of in the support they get even for diagnostics, for reading, imaging, for writing prescriptions. So things like this I think are only going to deepen in the future. Energy again is one area. We have our energy minister coming on the 10th. We have our secretary coming. We are scaling up our energy cooperation. India is now one of the countries which is importing a lot of LNG, but we are also looking at areas for technology tie-up and manufacturing in India because it is amongst the fastest growing energy markets in the world. So I will not take much of your time, but I really want to place on record the work which the Chamber is doing. We recently had an initiative of the Chamber. The Dallas skyline was lit on when we are celebrating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav to commemorate 75 years of India's independence. On 15th August, all of you would have seen the Dallas skyline was lit, and the iconic skyline of Dallas being lit, the media in India covered. It shows the partnership between both countries and how it is growing. We have a lot of social, cultural, religious and other organizations here who are again doing great work in India. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. I could only touch upon a few themes, but I want to leave this thought with you that we get many queries in the consulate from companies here whether we should go to India, what are the opportunities. I would strongly urge you to go and see yourself, to explore. The consulate has great resources. If you want us to plan your visit, we have organizations like Invest India which are being used by many American companies. We can arrange your meetings, we can arrange your visits. Governor Abbott led a delegation 2 years back. Many governors from southern United States have led. Senators have gone, congressmen go. Please go and see the opportunity. There are many companies here in the Dallas ecosystem who have gone there, who are manufacturing, who are examples of success stories and all over the United States, who will come back and tell you the success they have had of manufacturing in India. We recently have introduced productivity-linked incentive schemes in many areas which give you many benefits for manufacturing there. If you want in details on any of these, please do reach out to us, either directly or through the Chamber. The Chamber is an important partner for us. We really work very closely with them, and I'm sure they can equally connect you with us. Another initiative which we are running with the Chamber, and that is close especially for me as well, is for connecting young entrepreneurs and professionals, the Indian American young entrepreneurs and professionals as bridges between both countries to deepen the partnership. We did an event at the Crow Museum recently, and I'm sure the Young Entrepreneurs Program will really bear fruit because this is the generation which will hold the relationship in the coming years, and they will further deepen our partnership. So thank you again. I look forward to this interesting conversation today. Mental health, which is an area which you are covering, is an understated area of the pandemic. When I came in here from Geneva in January 2020, as a diplomat, I never had the experience of the misery or the human side of things, because as diplomats we normally don't do this. But we ran the Vande Bharat mission. We received 80,000 calls on the helplines. There are almost 200,000 students, Indian students studying here, about 30,000 students in this part of the United States. And I cannot really tell you except this, that we should count our blessings, which is I've learned from this pandemic, because many people were on the rough side of the stick, and people had their visas expired, they had to go, they got stuck, and some students, they really got worried, anxiety, worry. These are things which are only growing, and we should really address it up front, and I'm sure this panel will add a lot of value to that. And this area, perhaps the chamber can take it on in the future to amplify it and to reach out to people who need support in this area. Thank you.